Zuri, known for her gentle demeanor, was a beloved gorilla at the zoo. However, the vet's demeanor changed drastically after performing an ultrasound, hinting at shocking results. Upon entering the enclosure, veterinarian Wayne found the gorilla lethargic and immobile. Wayne bravely began his examination, realizing that the gorilla's condition was far from ordinary, extending beyond a typical pregnancy. As the gorilla's health deteriorated, Wayne knew immediate action was crucial. He just hoped his intervention wasn't too late. The question remained, what had led to this gorilla's unusual size and declining health? Despite visitors expressing concerns for some time, the employees of the privatized zoo appeared indifferent to the well-being of their gorilla. Disregarding the comments, the staff dismissed them as typical behavior for gorillas. Unbeknownst to them, they were gravely mistaken this time. It looked like a classic case of overfeeding to most of the visitors seeing the gorilla. But people who knew a little bit more about the zoo and its owners knew that this was very unlikely to be the case. The owners were notorious for cutting costs wherever they could, so the chances of them allowing their employees to waste so much food on an animal that was already this big were very slim. So, the chances are that there is something else going on here, and with the employees not caring either, there seemed to be little hope for the gorilla until someone showed up. He was not a fan of the concept of a zoo, but for his kids' happiness, he was willing to make an exception. But what he saw horrified him. The next day at work, he immediately opened up an investigation into the zoo to see if he could get it to shut down based on neglect or even animal cruelty. Yet, because it is a big task to investigate a zoo, he asked a colleague to help him along. He had taken pictures on his trip that he was going to use as evidence, and at some point, these actually got published. Mainly, the picture of the gorilla got a lot of attention online. The photo of the sad gorilla went viral on the internet. The photo was accompanied by the story that the animal was seemingly unable to stand up, and it seemed like she was depressive and she even didn't eat. All this eventually got the attention of a vet who was located fairly close to the zoo, and he was shocked by the picture of the gorilla. The vet, who was named Wayne, decided to call the zoo to get some more info. He was somewhat surprised when the phone was answered by a police officer. But this was a slow process. In addition, the owner of the zoo was just not happy that the entire zoo had to close. Here is where Wayne saw an opportunity to get a closer look at the gorilla. When he arrived, he got briefed by the vet actually leading the efforts to help the animals. They had not yet gotten around to checking the animal out, and in all honesty, it also was not high on their list of priorities. They had actually already kind of given up on the animal after seeing what state it was in. When Wayne finally got to examine the gorilla, he figured out that it had actually swallowed a heap of plastic, which was making it sick and causing it to swell up, according to the vet. As a vet himself, he had an ethical responsibility to all the animals. Wayne nodded and turned to assist the main vet in any way that he could. He was assigned to perform health checks on all the animals that needed to be transported out that day. This would end up taking about 2 hours of his time. Finally, the priority animals had been sent out to their new homes, and the last of the remaining animals would be leaving in the following days. Wayne was finally free to do what he had set his mind on. He was very excited, but he couldn't shake off the growing feeling of fear. Everyone else had resigned themselves to the death of the gorilla. Wayne was more than aware that he would indeed be treating the gorilla alone. Wayne walked slowly, not wanting to alert the gorilla. However, the gorilla ignored Wayne's entire presence in the cage. Wayne counted himself lucky. Even then, it was far more excessive than he had ever seen. Whatever was causing the bloating had clearly been piling up for far longer than he had initially suspected. He would need to do some further digging. It didn't take long. While he was feeling for unusual pressure in the gorilla, Wayne quickly noted something that alarmed him slightly. The areas below and around the gorilla were clean, suspiciously so for an animal that had been unable to move in months. It was now clear to Wayne that the problem was a digestive issue, or rather, the inability to defecate. There was something blocking the intestine. There was only one way to find out: surgery. Wayne knew what he had to do. Wasting no time, he quickly injected the large gorilla with a sedative. Once the gorilla's breathing had stabilized, Wayne carefully made the first incision. Wayne knew exactly what he needed to do to get to the blockage and ease the pain. It didn't take long before he made his way to the base of what was likely causing the problem: the stomach lining that led to the gorilla's bowels. There, he found massive swelling. The animal's stomach had stretched and was saturated with unreleased feces. Wayne could see that there was something beyond the culminated waste that was causing the blockage in the first place. Wayne was attentive and slow in his movement. He made sure that the entire valve was cleared out before he focused on the object that was creating the block in the gorilla's gut. In fact, he understood how the gorilla would have come to eat the object. It was a ball of plastic trays, the kind of trays that animal food was stored in. It was clear the zoo employees had not done their due diligence when feeding the gorilla and did not remove the transparent lining. With the cause identified, Wayne acted swiftly. He removed the plastic without causing harm to the delicate lining, skillfully stitching up the gorilla and ensuring it was hydrated. Now, all they could do was hope for a safe recovery. The following day, Wayne anxiously checked on his patient. To his surprise, the gorilla was further along in recovery than expected, a true medical marvel. Wayne felt a wave of relief. The primary vet expressed shock at the gorilla's progress and thanked Wayne for his role in rescuing her. Wayne, filled with joy at the gorilla's recovery, decided to personally care for her until she could be transported to her new home at the zoo.